So it's a deep dive. The entire book is a deep dive into the working of human cognition, revealing the biases, the the heuristics and complexities that shape our thinking and decision making process. Now, the author, the Kahneman research and insight shed lights on why people often make irrational choices and how awareness of these cognitive processes can lead to better decision making in various aspects of life. So, in overall, this book, so it talks about two systems. Okay, so thinking fast and slow, and as you can see, it talks about the fast aspect. Of our brain, has two kind of compartments, and he says that the two systems serves as the foundation of our understanding. Okay, of the two distinct model of thinking that govern human cognition. Now, the author introduces the concept of two systems of thinking. One is the fast, which is he talks about the automatic, which is system one, and the slow. And that slow one, he says that this is deliberate. That is, he talks about it as system two, and explains how they work in various situations. Now, let's talk about the system one, which is fast, and system two, which is sorry, system one is slow, and deliberate system two, you know, the system two is slow, I'm sorry, and system one is fast. So he talks about the system one and system two. Let's understand this both the systems. So he introduces the central idea of the book, the existence of two distinctive cognitive systems. So the operate system one, he talks about automatic and quickly and effortlessly relying on intuition, pattern recognition, and heuristics. Now that is about the system one. Okay, so it is kind of, you can say it's subconscious or unconsciously driven. And system two is slow, deliberate, and analytical, and requiring conscious efforts and attentions. So that means, that is more kind of conscious based. So you are taking the actions based on your whole consciousness, rather than, you are being led by your unconscious or subconscious mind. Now, characteristics of system one, he talks about it further, and he describes system one as the fast thinking system that handles routine tasks like recognizing faces or completing simple calculations. It is associative and often emotional, and operates without conscious awareness. Okay, so that means the breathing itself, when you are breathing, you are not consciously be breathing. So when you are distracted or you're thinking about different things, so that is, you are led, so you're kind of your mind wanders around without you being consciously aware of it. Okay, so now that is called characteristic, system one's character. And the system two's character he talks about, it's slow. That means this is a thinking system, and it's more complex cognitive activity. Okay, like solving maths problem, evaluating evidences. It involves conscious thoughts, reasoning, and logical analysis. Okay, now system two, when he talks about the system two, which is slow. Now let's go a bit deeper into it. So he talks about cognitive ease and strain. So Kahneman's, his, the author, discusses the concept of cognitive ease when system one, that means, unconsciously you are doing things. System one processes the information effortlessly. Okay, so that means it is all, about things without you being aware of, so you are doing it unconsciously, that we discussed about. And cognitive strain, when system 2 is engaged in more demanding tasks. Okay, so that means when you got to think. Okay, so system 2 is requires your kind of analysis and your creative thinking. Now cognitive ease can lead to biased thinking and overconfidence, while cognitive strain often results in careful and deliberate analysis. Okay. So now this is kind of the difference. Cognitive ease, he talks about system 1, which is you don't have to put the efforts, and system 2, you are deliberately putting the efforts. Now energy and laziness, system 2. So system 2 requires effort and consumes mental energy. Because of this, people tend to default to system 1 to conserve mental resources, because the way our entire physical and mental being is designed, so you tend to conserve more energy. So that's how your creator has, or our creator has created us. So that means if anything requires efforts, we tend to avoid it. Okay. And is that's the reason the author talks about the system 2, which requires the efforts, but system 2 is not kind of you are not consciously aware, sorry, you are fully consciously aware, but because it requires efforts, a lot of people may not, most of us, or most of the time, we may not be comfortable with that. Okay, this can lead to acceptance of intuitive judgments even when they are flawed. Now availability of heuristic. So Kahneman introduces the availability of heuristic, a mental shortcut in which judgments are based on the ease with which examples come to mind. This can lead to biases, as vivid and recent examples dominate our perceptions. Okay. Now, mental shortcuts in which judgments are based on the ease with which examples come in mind. So that means this is another kind of characteristics of the system 1. Now the substitution, the system 1, it talks about often substitutes complex questions with simpler ones it can answer easily. This substitution can result in biased and incomplete judgments. Anchoring, again another phenomenon of system 1, is anchoring in system 1 is susceptible to anchoring. That means the tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information encountered when making decisions, even if that information is irrelevant or arbitrary. Now associative memory is system 1 associative system 1 excels in making associations between concepts and events. These associations can lead to biases and errors, as people rely on familiar patterns without critically evaluating them. And priming, the author explains how subtle cues and stimuli can prime certain ideas and concepts in our mind, influencing subsequent judgments and decisions made in system 1. All right, so with that, we are done for this initial chapter, which we are talking about the 2 systems in the Thinking Fast and Slow. We'll continue